Good evening, Cinemaniacs of Toronto. Let me make some noise! You are a hardcore crowd. There's so much going on tonight. It's Monday night, of course. Just to get people to come out on a Monday is tricky in this city. It's election night, and it's also Blue Jays night. But yet you are here. Toronto After Dark, Cinema 1, Scotia Vancouver. Give it up for yourselves. Hardcore. We've got a special treat for you tonight. My name is Adam Lopez, and I'm the festival director of Toronto After Dark. And when I say treat, I mean we have the Canadian premiere of The Diabolical. Looking forward to that. Let's give some thank yous for our wonderful sponsors. Make a lot of noise, because without them we would not have this festival. Anchor Bay Entertainment, Raven Banner, Space, and Cineplex. And also keep clapping for our wonderful volunteers. We could not do this festival without them. Coming up, just a couple of quick things coming up before we get into tonight's films. We have a great film at 9:30 p.m. It is called The Interior. And if you guys like spooky, creepy films, there's definitely a lot of that going on. There's also some dark office comedy as well. It's a real genre blender. So check out, we've got a few tickets left at the door, so at the ticketing right outside. And we also have a rush line that will be open, so you can still catch a few last minute tickets to The Interior at 9:30. Straight after that is Pub After Dark, so join tonight's Filmmakers at the 3rd floor of the Office Pub, just around the corner. You can hang out with them and talk about the movies. Tomorrow, I guess you like creepy films or you wouldn't be here. 7 p.m, come back for Backtrack, starring Adrian Brody, a really cool supernatural tale from Australia. We've been getting some great stuff from Down Under. Who enjoyed last year's The Babadook? Yeah? So Australia seems to be a factory for scary, creepy films, and so check out Backtrack, some real cool supernatural stuff tomorrow at 7. We have some tickets left for that. 9:30 p.m, if you like action, sold out right now, but there will be hopefully some rush tickets at the door, and that is 9:30 p.m, Gridlocked. A lot of cool, intense action scenes shot right here in Toronto, and WWE star Trish Stratus will be here in person for the Q&A. So check out that for rush tickets tomorrow. Plenty more films to come before Friday when we wrap up, so check them out at torontodark.com. And let's get into tonight's films. The short tonight is Sleep Monster. Here to say a few words is Michael Bryan. Do you want to come on up, Michael?
Hi there. Thanks very much.
Welcome from Scott.
Thank you. Thanks very much for coming, guys. Everyone on election night. I hope everyone voted.
And do you want to say a couple things about the film?
Yeah, absolutely. We shot everything around the GTA, Cambridge, Hamilton, Oakville, and nearby. So you might notice some stuff that you see on a regular basis. I just really hope it's a fun 8 minutes of worth of your life. And I just want to say a quick thank you to my business partner Christopher Power. Him and I basically did this, pulled all the strings we could to get this done, and had a lot of fun doing it. It was a lot of work, but even more fun. So thanks so much, Chris. It was lots of fun doing that with you. And all the people that helped on the film, everyone really put in a lot of effort, and I appreciate that. Yeah.
Cheers. Give it up for Michael. And Sleep Monster coming up. Our main feature event tonight, The Diabolical, Canadian premiere. It's really hard to say anything about this film without giving too much away. It's creepy, it's freaky, it's got some nice twists to it. And here to help me introduce the film, without spoiling it, is the director and co-writer. Please give it up, a big warm welcome for Alistair Legrand. Come on up, Alistair, to introduce The Diabolical.
Hey guys! Thanks so much. This is an amazing crowd. Thank you. Thanks to Toronto After Dark for putting this together. It's my first time at the festival. I've been reading about it for years, so this is amazing to be here. And I'm a huge genre fan, so I love festivals that are just focused on horror, and it's always fun to come to these and watch horror movies with fans. And I know I'm dressed like a football coach tonight, but I love horror movies. So yeah, this movie, 2-year labor of love. I'm so happy you guys get to see our DCP in a theater as big as this. This is incredible. It was made for theaters this size. I was a projectionist for many years before making the movie, so I love the theatrical experience, and we shot this anamorphically and tried to make a very small budget, small movie feel really big. So you guys are experiencing it in the best way possible. And I got to cast one of my favorite actresses in it, Alistair, who is amazing and really great to work with. But I'm sure we'll talk about that afterwards.
We'll be back for Q&A.
Yeah. So anyway, enjoy the film. I'll stop yammering. And yeah, thanks so much.
Cheers. Good up, Alistair. Guys on the film. The director and co-writer, Alistair Legrand. Give it up for Alistair. Who just put on a Toronto Star t-shirt. How awesome is that?
I had to represent. These shirts are amazing.
We went retro, old school, classic horror, which I know you're a fan of.
Oh yeah, for sure.
And let's talk about inspirations for this film. We're going to throw it down to the audience in a couple of moments, so start thinking up some questions. If we can just get a little bit better lighting so we're not being blinded so much, we can get a bit more wider lighting on here. But what I was going to say is influences on this film. What was your inspiration for what is a very unique genre blender, shall we say?
Well, first I just want to say I think this is one of the first times I've noticed we have the little, this is based on fictional events at the end of the credit, which is a fantastic thing to put on after a movie this insane. So what was, your question was,
Yes.
What inspired this?
Yeah, for the story, obviously. You know,
Oh boy. I grew up on a farm, a very old, creepy farm in a state called Maryland in the United States. And Maryland's awesome. And my mother took care of me and my sister. And we had this strange life just being in the house and not many people around. And it was really spooky and there were ghosts. And so that always just kind of informed my idea of wanting to tell a story of a brother and sister and a mother stuck inside a house being haunted, and there weren't real ghosts, but I mean, yeah, I was a kid. And then watching a lot of, I'm just a huge genre fan, and I've seen thousands of these, just like you guys, and my writing partner and I just wanted to do something really different. And one day when I was watching a terrible paranormal reenactment show on Discovery Channel or something, it just hit me. I would like to find a new way to explain why rooms get cold and why objects levitate. And that's where the science fiction whopper of an ending kind of was born in my mind. And I texted my writing partner and we were off to the races. And yeah.
Yeah, no, I heard that was definitely, one of the things I really love about this film is that you do take a really wonderful, bold risk with taking supernatural into the realm of science fiction as an explanation. Do you want to talk a little bit more about that and how you found the right balance or the right moment to sort of reveal your powers
Sure.
that you had?
I think our main goal was just not talking down to the audience and trying to tell a really engaging story and not having a character come in and try to explain everything to you like you're a 4-year-old was our main goal. And making sure we didn't have that shot of the moving truck coming into the town and the people unload their boxes and then you just kind of are like, oh. We thought it would be really interesting to tell the story, like what if they've been haunted for a long time? What if they have PTSD because of hauntings? And that's essentially what this is. It's Allie and her kids just sitting there suffering quietly because they can't really afford to move out of the house. And the father passed away recently, and it's just been really tough for them and what it's like to endure that. Let's start the movie in the middle of the story. And so that was our main goal, and also just to move at a clip because I have horrible ADD and I love movies that move really fast and try to just really get you to your seat.
I think some of the audience appreciated that, right? Yeah. Good pacing film. Let's open it up to a town crowd. Anyone want to raise a hand and also make a bit of noise when you do it so we can see you? We've got some bright lights here tonight. Any hands up yet? Anyone want to shout out? Over there.
Go for it.
What was the basic inspiration behind the various entities, I guess? Was there a development process, or did you sort of just decide to go very simply from the get-go, or what was the design process of them as well as how they appeared in our realm with flesh and light and all that?
That's a great question. The main influence was the baboon and the fly. That's one of my favorite horror moments of all time.
Any Fly fans here?
Yeah. I saw that movie when I was 7, and that baboon ripping in half was the greatest thing I've ever seen. And so that was kind of the genesis of the ghost. We wanted to have people that have been turned inside out, crawling out of dryers and coming out of floorboards. And I think we were mostly successful, but nothing could compete with that baboon shot that still sticks in my brain. And we really wanted the apparitions at the same time to look like ghosts so that the audience and the characters themselves are trying to figure out if this is actually something paranormal or something else entirely. So we needed to really have that fine line where it could be an apparition or it could be our prisoners from the future. And I have an incredible makeup effects man named Jason Collins who's done various incredible work, like House. He does all the organ stuff on House MD. If you guys ever watch that show, the really disgusting stuff you see in the medical dramas, and he just did the Pumpkins and Tales of Halloween. He's really, really talented, and he came out and did these beautiful drawings based on really bad sketches by me of our creatures, and we wanted to make sure they looked, if you pause the film, you can see that they look like contused and like they've been pummeled to death by teleportation.
You got some more questions? Anybody want to wave a hand? Over there, go ahead.
I appreciate that you had a boy and a girl in there, because so often it focuses on girls. How did you choose the ages?
Well, being 12 as a boy is very interesting, because you are kind of, hormones are starting to kick in, you're really angry, you're starting to fight with your parents, you're becoming a sullen teenager. And that's just an interesting, that was, as my writing partner, I thought that was a really interesting kind of realm to put a ghost inside of, is that age. And I just think that's kind of the last age where you're a kid. And also you're transitioning into an adult and you still need to take care of your little sister, and he kind of needs to step up and become the protector of the family. So it was really fascinating for us to approach it that way. And also that's when your problems start to emerge, and Jacob's big one is anger. So we thought that was kind of the best playground to sort of set our story and up for him. And for Chloe, I mean, she was
a really young actress.
Yeah, we really just wanted a young kid. My little sister is 10 years younger than me, and this is totally based on her. I just watched over her a lot as a kid, and she was so cute and precious, and she would always, even though there was a lot of strife going on in our family, she would always stay calm. And it was amazing to us because she was just kind of like the rock of the family. And so that's why she is that age. And yeah, that's pretty much it.
Did you have a question over here?
Of course, in any ghost movie, the music and the sound design is absolutely critical to getting people on edge. Tell us about how you put that all together.
Tell us about the sound design for those who couldn't hear it back. Yeah.
For me and for the composer and I, it was really important for us to meld sound design and score itself, because too often in these films you go into post-production and sound design is fighting the composer, and the composer is screaming out about sound design because everyone's trying to control their volume levels and no one's getting along with the mix. So from the get-go, I had the composer and our sound designer working together so that we could create a very fluid sonic landscape in order to make this movie sound as scary and enthralling as possible. And it was also really important for me to not have the classic string plucks that you would normally hear in this kind of film, but to have a score that really sounded rather large and sounded like a much bigger movie than it is, so that we are kind of hinting at the bigger science fiction aspects of the story. And Ian Hultquist, who did the music in a band called Passion Pit, and he came in, and this was kind of his first movie in a way as a composer, and he just killed it and did an amazing job at bringing a really interesting sonic sound. And we tried to, sound effects are one of my favorite things to start playing with, not too much, but it's really, really fun when you get into there and trying to introduce sounds that you wouldn't normally hear in this kind of environment and always keep the audience at the edge of their toes. Even though it's just two kids playing a board game, there's something else going in the background, like the time travel terror is always around them.
That was awesome sound. Definitely one of the most epic sound designs, I think, of any film we have this year. Very, very cool.
Yeah, we tried really hard. That's why I wanted to do a title sequence so bad, because I just wanted to let the audience, I love a nice title sequence that really sets you in the mood for the film and kind of plays with all the themes throughout, so if you revisit it again, you can kind of appreciate it in a way. And I really wanted people to hear Ian's music loud and gorgeous.
We got time for a couple more questions. Anybody want to throw one out?
Over here.
Wave your hand. Okay.
Right here.
Who was that? Over there?
Someone right here had their hand up.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Whoever Brett's pointing.
You can go again.
Go for it.
No, I was bring up the title sequence. How did you do that? Was that practical, smoke, or was it visual effects?
Both. Like a lot of our effects in the movie, I really wanted to meld the two because I love practical effects more than anyone, and at the same time, we're telling a story where a big part of it is the future. So we really wanted to hint at that, the title sequence, and the idea for the time travel itself is when it's slowed down and when Allie's looking at it on her computer, it looks like ink droplets dropped in the water, because I really wanted it to have more of a biological component to it rather than just a flash of light, which once slowed down you'll see is actually more organic. I thought it would be really fascinating to play with time travel in that way, so that you can, it just feels like something more like that Earth created in a way. So when it came time to do the title sequences, I sent them a bunch of reference photos, and they came up with this, and then I added the aspect where all of our ghosts are in the title sequence. When you watch the movie again, you'll see the water coming down, or from the side, they're all kind of reaching for all the character names, and they're all in there. The laundry monster is the best one.
Do you want to talk a little bit about your vision of the future world that you created? Because obviously we get glimpses of it, maybe not a complete reveal of the entire world that is out there. I guess it's dystopic, it's a sort of dark future?
Yeah, it's a technology-based future. It's Cyberdyne.
Right.
It's Lockheed Martin now. It's what would happen if Google and Lockheed Martin joined forces and just started developing technology willy-nilly and just wanted to create things without regard for human life and doing these horrible tests on prisoners. And the important aspect of the story was just to not jump into the future too soon, not only based on our budget, but just because we wanted to leave room for possibly another film or some sort of comic book to tell a bigger story of what goes on in the future itself. But I love evil corporations in movies. I mean, that's just like one of my Scanners. Toronto, Scanners is the greatest evil corporation. And so, yeah, this is totally, the DNA is in this film. It's like 70s and 80s government paranoia films.
I love it. Dystopic futures, Robocop, omni-consumer products.
Yeah.
I just love evil
Yeah,
corporations.
and the THX 1138 suits.
Yeah. We're going to geek out later on, I'm sure.
Yeah.
We got a couple more questions? Anyone want to wave and shout? It's a little hard with the brightness here. I was going to talk to you about... hand over there, go.
Just with the title, how did you come up with the title name, the name?
The title name.
The Diabolical.
Yeah.
It's the company itself, the Camset, is the Diabolical. It's the malevolent force in this family's life. So I just wanted something really short and simple that sold it as a ghost film, but with just a little bit more to it. So we are always playing around with audience expectations, and the title was a big one of them.
We got anyone to shout out? I was going to ask you about, this is a first-time feature film project for yourself.
Yeah, it's my first movie.
So you've come from a background in music videos. Do you want to talk about that transition and how this is obviously a bigger project and some of the challenges you faced making that transition?
Yeah, I came from music videos, and music videos these days they give you $500 and you have a day to make it look like $10 million. And it's an incredible playground, and it's an incredible way to learn the nuts and bolts of filmmaking, and I would recommend it to anyone. It's how I got my start. I would just work as a PA on film sets and then use that money and find really terrible bands on Craigslist and pay for their music videos. And I would do all the production design myself, and just to build a reel and a body of work to prove to people. And they always had a horror focus in my videos, so that I knew one day when I had to prove that I could direct a horror movie, it showed. And it's where I got to learn the nuts and bolts of filmmaking, but also got to know my cinematographer, John Frost, who's an incredible part of my filmmaking process, and we've known each other for 10 years now, and he did an amazing job on this film. And music videos are a great way to convince a independent company that you can direct a movie, because if you can do that for a very small amount of money, then you can probably put this on your shoulders. So it really helped. They were a little skeptical at first of letting me direct, but it worked out in the end.
But obviously this is a much bigger challenge. Did you find working with a bigger budget or a bigger cast and crew something that was exciting or intimidating at a certain
No, I threw up every day. It's incredibly nerve-wracking, and it's meeting Ali Larder was like the most Yeah, I flashed back to that day. That was my Vietnam. It was just really, it was all a learning experience. It was I call it like it was like my graduate film school. It was just incredible to really know feature filmmaking is a marathon, not a sprint, and you really have to figure out a way to stay awake and really positive the entire time, because everything's going to go wrong and you're not going to get what you want, but you still need to sort of see the light at the end of the tunnel and realize that you're still making something cool, even though every day you're saying you suck to yourself. But it was a really great learning process working with a company like Content and Ross Dinnerstein, who produced this, who also made The Pact. He's a great genre.
Everybody remember The Pact, The Trump Dark?
Yeah.
And also the same producer of The Divide. Did you guys enjoy that? Yeah.
Yeah.
Same producer worked with you on this. That's great.
But I made my life a little bit easier by always being prepared every day, which is what I came from music videos, and I storyboarded every single shot and made sure that the only reason Allie did this movie is because I gave her a Bible for the film, which they do in TV a lot, but they don't, and it was all the characters' backstories, how every single room was gonna look, what she was gonna wear, all her storyboards, just every single kind of shot, a rough schematic of what I had planned to shoot, and then she was like, oh, okay. And she was more confident in kind of signing over to do this kind of role with a first-time director.
Cool. You got time maybe for one more question?